Albert Rusnak has been confirmed to be re-signed as a designated player for the Sounders next season on a multi-year deal.
In the last year, yeah, maybe he didn't show up in those big games like you wanted him to, but 22 goal contributions is nothing to not like. It's something that's pretty good. I mean, there is flops in MLS that get paid a lot more than Rusnak does as a DP that don't put up 22 goal contributions, right? Shaqiri made like how much? Insigne made how much? And so, yes, it's not as ambitious as you want, but given the state of this team where they, like I said earlier, or in the other video, that they were one goal away from being in the final, I think it's a conservative move. I think you're basically saying, let's run it back. Let's do what we did last year and add Jesus Ferreira.
It's funny. We were actually joking about this in the last live. I would like to see Rusnak as a DP, but for a team like the San Jose Earthquakes and not for us. Because I think he's a DP level player for maybe half the league at best, I think. But for a championship contending team, I don't think he's a DP caliber player. And I honestly think this move here should be getting more like backlash
Discourse?
and hate than the Ferreira one, in my opinion. Yeah. Because, I mean, at least with Ferreira, he's 24 years old and has potential to get better and grow his value. He's going to be on the wrong side of 30. I don't know how many years the deal is quite yet. It says multi-year, so is that like
2 to 3, right, Fabi?
Yeah, it says multi-year deal, so I'm assuming 2 to 3 on that. So that's a fair bet. But for example, guys, like Hector Herrera is not an MLS player anymore, and he was making $5 million. He had like 3 assists last year. Like, yes, they play different positions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
But you did get production out of Rusnak. Like, maybe he did something better now. He's only 30 years old. He's not that old.
But the one point I brought up to Brody too is, do you think maybe he was playing super duper well because he knew his contract was on the line? We've seen this with plenty of athletes throughout the years. And the big point that Brody and I have made is he never showed up in any big games for the Sounders. Never. None of them. Nada. And isn't that what the point of a designated player is? To get you through those humps? Rusnak, I don't even think again, outside of the Columbus game, I always love referencing that. Outside of that game, Rusnak, I don't think put up any numbers against any of the bigger teams in the league.
But that's why you bring in Jesus Ferreira, like, to do that, right?
God.
I really, you know what? I agree with Brody. This deal isn't sexy, okay? This deal isn't what Seattle should be if they were 1 goal away from the MLS Cup, but it's a safe deal. It's something that it's going to be more.
Hasn't Seattle been playing
perfectly fine? You're not.
Yeah, but hasn't Seattle been playing the safe deal for like 3 years now?
And you went to a Western Conference final last year, and you're going to be in a Club World Cup. Hopefully, you score a couple goals. But I mean, like,
I like how you said hopefully.
I mean, we just got to temper our expectations here too.
Man. No, we have, man. Trust me.
We're playing in a league that Lionel Messi's gonna literally bring in every single Argentinian player. Like, come on, like, we just need to beat the West if you're Seattle. Let's be honest here.
But it's like it's kind of like that mentality of just coasting above water. And sure, if you want Rusnak in, it's not. I think it's fine. Yeah, his stats, as Shakir said, his hips don't lie. His stats don't lie. But, like, the game is not just stats. There's the eye test as well. Yeah. There's a level of ambition you want to see from your team. And this is, like, as Will said, it's more of an MLS 2.0 move. This is not in a modern MLS type of DP move you'd want the Sounders to be making when you think of DPs in the past. I think a lot more fans would have wanted to see some more risk, a little bit more ambition. Not saying these deals aren't good, but they're not bad. It's just everything's just coasting above water. You're on that fine little line, actually splashing some cash to bring in another guy like De La Vega. And I have wholeheartedly put my sleeve out there. Disregard last season for De La Vega. Why I say that is because, one, there was way too much pressure that he had to produce because you didn't bring anyone else in. He felt that pressure. He constantly was trying to play through injuries, but we could see how much of a different class he was when he played and he was fit and he was healthy. The problem is too much pressure, was injured all the time. Trust me, he will come good. But we needed more pieces like that, in my opinion.
How much did Rui Diaz make last year?
3
It's like 2.8 or
million.
3,
A
something
lot.
around there.
A
Yeah.
lot, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, the ambition's not there, but you might be able to save a little bit of money with this DP instead of Rui Diaz, right? I'm just saying, this is not the sexiest move, but it's definitely something
We
that
need a
can
sexy move, man.
Yeah, that's the
do
thing is,
they? Like,
We-
do they? Like, guys, are we serious right now?
yes, we are
You guys have one of
serious.
the best academies. Like, do you need a sexy move?
But
Yeah,
okay,
I
but
would have.
who
I
in
would
the
have rather just Ferreira have replaced Rusnak and just let Rusnak go completely. To be
Okay, that's fair.
honest, and then bring
That's
in
fair.
somebody, bring in that 9 that you were talking about. And Ferreira can play because Ferreira can play the 10 too. He's very versatile. So I mean, I just, I just don't think it was the best move.
But I'm just saying, like, it could be worse. Like, I don't know. I really, you guys
could
just have
it?
the
That's
Galaxy
the
and
whole-
LAFC. That's all you have to do.
But see, this is like a poor man's mentality now,
They
Fabi.
don't.
It
But that's
could
the thing. He's shown that he's not going to be a difference maker in those games.
Be-
And every MLS Cup, every
And-
trophy that we've won, Ladero has always made a difference in those games. Rui Diaz has always made a difference in those games. And how many times did we play LAFC? Five times.
And
we played
Rusnak
them
didn't
last
show
year?
up in any of
Didn't
those
show
games.
up in any of them. Not even just like goals, assists, not just that. Like nowhere to be found watching the game 90 minutes with your eyes. Very
And granted,
quiet.
yeah, that's more. And a lot of people want to make the complaint of the whole team was bad throughout the whole like the beginning of last season. But the thing is he's the designated player. He's the highest paid player on the team. He's a guy that's been in the league for 10 plus years. Don't
You're
you
the
expect
10,
him to be
man.
the guy to grab the team by the scruff of the neck and be like, hey, we need to get our shit together? At least be that type of leader, not necessarily vocally, but on the field with his play, which he's shown he's not. He's just a piece. Again, another good supplemental player. But we have no, like, think about it. It's not even just Rui Diaz and Ladero that made the Sounders successful. You had guys like Victor Rodriguez. You had guys like Roman Torres. You had guys like Gustav Svensson. Those are the good type of supplemental pieces. We don't even make those signings anymore.
Well, you don't need to, right? Because you guys have Reagan, Obed Vargas, like Atencio. So you guys are getting all these guys that are coming from your academy who are becoming those pieces, right? So you save some money there.
I think we have good. These are the good the bottom pieces you need. I think Georgie's a good piece. I think Reagan's a good piece. But these are not the guys we should be relying on.
Yeah.
To be the big, like Yedlin was one of those pieces, but he wasn't that heavily relied upon back in 2014 when we were winning the supporter shield and whatnot. He was a good piece to that. And I think it's good to have a good, healthy balance of young and experienced players.
But personally, you brought in Jesus Ferrer for that. So
it just feels like we're a team of just like, because you have to, like, we can live in our own Sounders bubble, but we do have to take into context like the rest of the league, like what their teams look like.
The rest of the West.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. But in terms of just competing for championships, it just feels like we're a team of like good players, but there's no one guy, at least yet. Maybe De La Vega comes through, maybe Ferreira bounces back. But there's no like one guy. There's no Gabriel Peck. There's no
Painsil. But the thing is this is a point I made in the last time we spoke, Brody. Think about the last 3 MLS Cup winners. LAFC, you had Bale, you had Vela, you had Orongo. You look at Columbus Crew, you had Ramirez, you had Cucho, you had Rossi. You look at the Galaxy, you had Painsil, you had Peck, you had Joveljic, you had Puig.
Painsil and Peck are literally 2 signings that the Sounders would be the biggest signings of all time. Like, and I think Puig would be up there too. So I think we have to tamper our expectations a little bit. Like,
this is crazy.
Like that's the Galaxy, right? The biggest club in MLS.
They were one of the worst teams last year in MLS.
MLS is weird, dude. You can do it.
No, bro. Whenever I reply to what you say, it's always like, it doesn't make sense. It's an anomaly.
No, but really, like, there's only one team I would rather have on the West Coast, or excuse me, on the Western Conference, player per player, and that would be the Galaxy because they've spent so much more money. But I would take the Sounders over every other team in the West, even LAFC right now. And I think it's because LAFC just doesn't know how to use Giroud, and I think they're going to have problems with that. But I also think they're losing a lot of pieces. They lost Murillo. They lost Sanchez or Ilie. Like they're losing a lot of pieces. So I think the Sounders going into the season should be the number 2 team in the West. So why not run it back and give Rusnak a little DP deal? Like, okay, you know.
I mean, we
wouldn't
can.
dis-
I don't. We're not gonna win the MLS Cup. That's just we're not gonna win the MLS Cup bringing Rusnak back as our mainstay DP.
You're not going to dominantly win, sure, but you might sneak out a 1-0 win in the Western Conference Final.
We could, but I mean, he's shown us that it's not going to be because of him.
Yeah,
That's
Shown us
true.
that. And
That's
you're
fair.
paying
But
that guy to be
like,
your
look-
guy. You know, that's the.
A lot of guys in the MLS get labeled DPs because of their transfer in. So it's like a lot of times, like, for example, Carlos Gresso, an Earthquake, he's like a DP, but he's not by far he's not the best player on the team, right? Like
Yeah.
we're talking about like other teams. Yes, of course, Sounders should have more ambition, of course, but they already are up there. That's just what I think.
In the last three, okay, in your opinion, the last 3 years, in their last 3 transfer windows, do you think the Seattle Sounders have been ambitious?
De La Vega is pretty ambitious.
Okay, that's one signing, and we're talking about 6 windows. One signing, 6 windows.
I still think De La Vega is going to pan out.
Okay, my answer, case closed. It's a no. It is a no. It's a big. You do no signings for 3 straight summer transfer windows. Yes, again. I never cracked on the De La Vega. I did. That's the only signing that gave me the will to live. Like I was so
Insane.
over the moon
Got
about
his jersey
like,
almost immediately, man.
Yeah, I know,
was so
like-
excited.
we were all so pumped out. Like everyone was there when I did my. I did 5 videos on De La Vega. I did 5 videos because of
But
how
Let's
excited
look
I
at
was
last
about
year
that.
and this year. De La Vega and Jesus Ferreira in 2 years. I think I like that. I'm not going to lie to you. I like that.
I like that, man. I just don't like Rusnak.
Yeah.
I just
Look,
wish he had
Look, Cheyenne, I'm sorry. This isn't Miami. Like, this isn't LA. Like, come on.
I never said that. And the thing is, I have realistic expectations. I just want some balls from this team, like from this organization. There's no balls. There's no cojones. There's no risk.
Well,
It's
I agree with
every
that,
move
yeah.
you just talked about.
They
Safe,
pick
safe,
They
safe,
pick
safe, safe.
Yeah. You should have multiple safe moves and then get that.
And then, like, yeah,
crown
have a
jewel.
couple. But that's the thing is, just like I talk about the lineup, young players, older players, safe signings, risky signings. As I said, you need a foundation. Don't get me wrong,
Well-
but there has been 0 risk from this
Well,
team.
the Galaxy are allowed to take those the risky moves because they know they're going to get Marco Royce on a TAM deal. They know they're going to get Maya Yoshida for free. So it's like they're allowed to do the risk because they're going to get players on the cheap because they're LA. So it's just a little bit of perspective. Like Seattle maybe can't take those risks because you might not be good because you took a risk. Like you don't have you don't have like a second plan.
Okay, how would we rate the DP re-signing of Albert Rusnak? Brody, we'll let you. I know we'll let Favi go first.
It's a 5 out of 10. It's an okay move.
Oh,
I don't love it.
what is a
Like-
5 out of 10 in grade score? That is an F.
Okay. In a grade score, it's a C. It's like a passable move.
That's a
you know?
7 then. That's a
Okay,
7.
but like 7's a little 6. Let's give him a passing grade, a D. Let's not flunk him. Let's give him a 6. All right.
Well, I was gonna say we were like arguing as if we're on like completely different sides, but my rating's not even that far off. I was gonna give it
Yeah.
a 4. I was gonna give it a 4. Like you could do a lot worse because there are a lot worse DPs in the league.
Sure.
But for our club, our ambitions, what we want to achieve, for me, it's a 4. I think it's an easy 4. Combined with
And
his
I was
age
in
as
between
well.
3 or 4 as well. That's why I started clapping because I was like, bro, you're not even that far off from what we were gonna say.
Like it's not obviously not a 10, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting.